WrestleMania 40 will be the highest grossing wrestling show in the history of wrestling. If you were to put probably every WrestleMania combined, from 1 to 39, you put all their total dollars they made all together, I still don't think it's going to hit the gate of WrestleMania 40. If you were to take every AEW show they've ever put on, and every WCW show they put on, and every WWF show that outside of WrestleMania, you put all that money together, I still don't think it is going to cross the gate of WrestleMania 40. Wake up this morning, find out I got a pre-sale code for the 2-day combo tickets. I'm like, oh, you know what? Cool. I didn't think combos would be on sale until Wednesday, Thursday. Who knows, right? I know tickets go on sale Friday. They go on Ticketmaster. Jump on Ticketmaster, 2,000 people in the queue. No problem. I'm used to queues. I know how this thing works. I know how to maneuver around it. So I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. Cool, I get in. First thing, I knew there was an issue, and I did need a pre-sale code for the 2-day combo package. They just let me right through the door once I got through the queue. I was like, man, that's kind of interesting. All right, I see these first level tickets, typically right where we sit at. Click on it. $1,500 per ticket.
Excuse me?
1500.00. It's 3 of us. So for me, that ticket would be almost $5,000. Hey, man, you got your whole family, brother. Hey, the boys ain't never been to a WrestleMania. I think 40 would have been a perfect time for you to take them. So you actually would be eclipsing $5,000 if you would sit normally where you would like to sit. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, maybe like I did something wrong. Maybe these are all like the platinum tickets. Let me like revisit this. I'm looking, and no, those tickets are about double what the seat prices were for WrestleMania 39. So they're going to smash every single record that they've ever probably dreamed of. And they're selling. I saw a report last week that said that they were trending to have an incredible ticket sales on the on-date sale, which is this Friday. And I don't know what numbers or what metrics they looked at, but yep. And I see people online like, you know, I got my seats sitting on the floor, $800. And I'm just like, but you're like, it roll like 46.
Man.
Like, that's not that close to the ring. So, hey, if you guys got tickets, congrats. I am happy for you guys. I probably will have to sit this one out. That's a lot of money for 2 nights. And I just don't know about getting the value. But the good thing for WWE is we know the ticket prices are going to either stay flat or they're going to continue to exceed the marketplace. So WrestleMania is now absolutely in the territory of Super Bowls, NBA Finals, World Series, the huge college bowl games, because that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
I'm going to reserve my comments about the cost of it because I'm really upset about that. And I get really upset with the markup prices on a lot of concert tickets. But from what you tell me, a lot of it is from the aftermarket sales of them. Yep. And it's not like the initial sales. But that right there, you are outpricing the fan. Like, for real, what if I have a family of 4 and I don't want to be touching the roof?
That was a lot of people were saying. They were like, no, you can get, 200, 300 section seats. And those seats are very well priced. I mean, you got some that's $100. You got some that's $200. It's just what I'm used to. I just can't. I'm not spending that type of money and sitting in the 3rd level, the 4th level.
So by comparison, so 39, those same 2nd and 3rd level seats, how much are they going for? What's the margin there? What's the difference?
I don't know because I didn't price those.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is I just jumped on real quick again, and all they have left right now, and they haven't even put any tickets on sale on the same side as the hard cam. That'll probably go on sale come Friday. But all they have right now are floor seats, and those floor seats have now been moved over to $7,000. Row 8, right across from the hard cam, $7,000. Nice. Or you could do row 11. Here you go, $5,000 a ticket for row 11. And they got looks like they got about 20 seats If you don't want to do row 11, you could do row 12 for, no, it's still 5,000. Last row on the floor, 2-day time. Here we go. 2-day combo ticket. Last row.
Give it to
Section me. F14, row 17. $3,000 per ticket.
Oh, that's not bad. It's a discount.
So you figure 3 times 4
you get OZ,
is $12,000.
Oh my
and you
God.
can see Cody Rhodes finish the story against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40.
Not gonna be able to do it.
Those prices.
Hey, no, it's funny when you guys get the chance to look at the video back. I want you to look at Rhodesia's expression. I actually going to expand my editing, chomps, and I'm going to zoom right in on Rhodesia's face when Matt hits her with that price tag. So it's obvious you guys haven't talked about this. So it was amazing to see the expressions. But
well, yeah, because typically the conversation is I send her a screenshot of me getting the tickets. And then she's like, "Oh, babe, you're so sweet, you're so awesome." Yeah. She ain't getting no text today with no screenshot. That ain't happening.
If I just saw that price tag, I'd be like, "Return to sender, get your money back."
Hey, make sure when you do decide, because you will decide to go, you're gonna go. Make sure I get that screenshot too, and I also will reply back to you. Thank you, honey.
but so real talk, and we can get off of it. But real talk, for the price of going to WrestleMania. And again, I'm saying this from a position that I've been to WrestleManias already. Mm-hmm. So I know there's people who have never been, and it's a bucket list item for them. Yep. But for that price of going to WrestleMania, we could go to every indie show, every WrestleCon, all meet and greets of every single wrestler, the whole weekend, airplane tickets, hotel tickets, all of that for the price of WrestleMania tickets. And we can go to a viewing party for that matter.
Hey, let me tell you guys right now, like my wife will whoop my ass if I spent that much money going to WrestleMania. And here's the thing. I have to take the boys to the next show. They're dying to go to another show. And as you said, I'm spoiled. I have to sit at a certain level. And paying those kind of prices for 4 people. And we're talking about just getting into the show. We're not talking about, accommodations.
You didn't get there yet. You didn't get there yet.
Like, right? I guess I might have to drive there and just sleep in the car. Because
right? I guess that's where we can save money.
You show up, you're like, all right, family, look, we going to WrestleMania, but we ain't eating the entire weekend. So save your energy until we get there, because that's just what it is.
Not going to be able to do it.
Nah, not this time. But everybody that's going, have a hell of a time. You guys are going to enjoy it. Yes, it is still a bucket list item. Of course, this is kind of a little bit tongue-in-cheek, because if you can get into the building, get into the building. And I saw a lot of that, too. Is, hey, you can get into the building for, I think the cheapest ticket is $40. So a lot of people was like, hey, get in the building for $40. That's a good deal. And it is, if you are willing to sit in those spots. But I am not. So I'll be watching you guys at home. And you know what? I hope it rains. Now that I'm not going, I hope it rains. I hope it snows. Philadelphia, you guys are sitting there in an outdoor. I remember when we went to New York, MetLife, and it was cold.
Oh, my God. Don't bring up those memories.
When Kofi beat Daniel Bryan. It was cold. It was cold out there. So hopefully y'all get, snowed on, just because I'm a hater.
Oh, that's messed up.
How about that?
That's probably my worst WrestleMania memory ever, the after WrestleMania, and us being out there in the rain,
got stuck in a tunnel,
in the cold.
We couldn't get an Uber.
Oh, my, for hours. Oh, my God. To me, that just took away from the wrestling show to me.
I think that was the last one night Mania, wasn't it?
Maybe.
Because remember, the women didn't even go on after midnight?
Yep.
And I was like, whoa, this is all right. I'm over it. So as soon as Becky won, I was like, all right, let's go.
Yep. We just hurried up to wait in that tunnel. Luckily, we were able to get into that tunnel, because there were some people who couldn't even get under the tunnel, who was getting rained on. Ugh.
All right, let's get into it, y'all. Welcome to the TFW podcast. That's Freakin Wrestling. I always say the best kept secret in wrestling podcast, because I believe it. We are at episode 57. You guys know us, the usual suspects. I am here. I am Matt. Rhodesia is here. Eshaun is here. Shout out to everybody who listens and supports the pod. You guys know I always like to shout you guys out. Appreciate you guys. Let me get the plugs out the way. We'll get right into Mr. Phil Brooks again. We started the last pod, and I'm like, hey, he's got to be working, right? He was not working. But today, a lot more information came out than what was around on Monday. So we'll talk about that too. But Twitter, That's FNW. If you have not followed us, follow us there. YouTube, that's Freakin Wrestling. That's where we put all of our full videos up from the pod twice a week on there for you guys to check us out. So, a lot of drama. A lot of drama. You guys all know kind of what happened. I don't even know how you guys want to start because I have some newer information that I trust from PW Insider, from somebody else's perspective of what happened. And it paints a completely different perspective than what people tried to run with all day Monday when this news hit, or Sunday, I guess, after the promo. And then it was news that Hangman was not allowed in the building. He was barred from the building. Then it was Christopher Daniels was barred from the building. And there was somebody else, I think. Dolph Ziggler's brother was barred from the building. He couldn't make it in there. So there was a lot. So how do you guys want to tackle this? Do you want me to give you what may be the correct information first? Do you just want to go with what we heard all day on Monday? Like, what do you guys want?
Let's go in chronological order of what we found out as fans.
All right, so chronological order. We heard the off-air promo from CM Punk where he takes a shot at Hangman, saying that, hey, all of his action figures are still hanging up in Walmart. So we heard that, and then I don't know if it was Sunday or Monday, one of those days, and then it comes out that, hey, there's people who aren't allowed backstage at Collision. Punk throwing everybody out. Like it's the Royal Rumble. Throwing them over the top. You get out of here. You get out of here. You get out of here. Throwing everybody out. Throwing everybody out. I guess we'll stop there. But the big piece was the Hangman promo. That was kind of like the big piece that everybody was kind of centered on. And this is the thing about wrestling, journalism, reporting. It's so like fucked because you got to take what they say as gospel, but they could be completely wrong. Or, and this is what I believe, they are jaded because they are too close to the wrestlers. So their perception, or maybe not even perception, maybe just what they want to give to their fan base is not right. Is inaccurate. And to me, that is where we are with Dave and his group over at The Observer at this point. His reporting to me just seems like the Bucks are his boys, Punk's not, and that is how I'm going to just move forward. Because once again, we'll get to with the PW Insider stuff. It's like there is no way you guys could have had that information crossed like that. I think it's impossible. So, Rhodesia, I know you were pretty excited, or maybe not. I know you were upset, you were pissed off. You may have even said, like, that's why I don't like Punk, or something to that effect. So maybe we'll just start with you, and then E, give me your thoughts on, I don't know if you even saw this new report that came out earlier today. So you guys just give it to me, just all your thoughts on now knowing that the promo wasn't a work. There's also something to that too. And then these people getting thrown out of the backstage area and Collision. Give it all to me.
So we have facts, and then we have speculation, and speculations are is not in facts. It's when you hear reporting from this person, that person, that person, that person. I'll get into that in a moment. The fact of the matter is that he went in on Adam Page after Collision. That is a fact. That was completely out of line, just like I thought he was out of line at the Scrum, just like I thought he was out of line on the debut of Collision when he went off on all of those people. Like, dude, they can't even retort. But because you have this platform, you can go off on them. Those are facts. I actually saw that with my own eyes, and it wasn't artificial intelligence. Now, you talk about all the other stuff, the whole him getting into Ryan Nemeth's face. Like, I'm a grown-ass man. Don't get him. Oh, I'm not a grown-ass man, but me being Ryan, I'm a grown-ass man. Why are you getting in my face for anything? Was it one to either intimidate him and to entice him to hit him and get physical so now he can get in trouble? Or is it two, to make him look like a punk? No pun intended there. But point is, like, that's just not cool. I feel, as a fan, from what I'm hearing from all these different outlets, is that if you don't worship CM Punk and you ain't all on his jock, then he's like, fuck you, and keep it moving. That's just personally how I feel. But again, going to just the facts that I saw, if I'm going off on Adam Page, his collision reaction afterwards and his all-out scrum or all-in scrum, whatever it was, that to me, all three of those things was completely out of line. So I'm going to have to go off of history and those three things that you did. How can I believe that there is another side? Because this is what I actually saw with my own eyes.
Rhodesia's hot. I love it. Hey, you know what, Punk? We want the smoke. Bring it. I like that. Hey, Ryan has something to say on Twitter. Face to face. Punk want to know what's up. He said, hey.
Keep that same energy. You
want to step outside? Nah, he want to step in the hallway. That's cool. We can do that too. We can talk like men. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Because I think that nowadays people are so passive aggressive and they like to say all this slick shit on Twitter and on social media. You know what? Back in my day, you understand, back when Big Daddy was a thug, we handled things. You know what I'm talking about?
Happened.
Like, oh yeah, all day long it used to happen out in them streets. It was cold out there too. It was hot. And look, hey, do we need to fight or do you want to talk? But something gonna happen. Like, so I appreciate that he actually had that energy with Ryan. I hope, what was Dolph at, man? Dolph gonna come through with a super kick, you know what I'm saying, out of nowhere. He gonna come through with a super kick. Get off my brother, you know what I'm talking about? That's what I want to see, man. And look, and without actually knowing the P, because I ride with Dave in the Observer, like I understand, like everything that Dave says is gospel in fact. So I'm pretty sure what he said was right at the time. I'm riding with you, Dave. I'm here for you. All right, give me a job. And also, look, CM Punk is just out there trying to entertain the crowd. He just said, well, he like I said, he probably went to my old Walmart. He saw the hangmans hanging on the pegs, and he thought he had a good joke to tell. No harm, no foul. I'm okay with it. But keep going, Matt. What else you got going on with this topic?
So if we're going in chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
My thought on Monday night, because there was a lot of stuff, and I started because it was who you're hearing certain things from and who you're not hearing certain things from. And we at this point kind of know the people that we can listen to in the wrestling space that have sources that you can trust on face value. And either they weren't giving us the same thing we were hearing on certain platforms that I don't really trust, or it was a lot of information out there that just was not followed up on. But what I started thinking that night was, we know Collision is Punk's show. We know that.
Yeah.
If Punk's not allowed at Dynamite when the Elite's there.
Is that a thing though?
Let's go with that.
Okay, so we're assuming that. Okay.
If Punk's not allowed to go there when the Elite's there, shouldn't he have some say of who is backstage on Saturday's show? If it could be a detriment to the show or to the talent that's there?
Sure, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
What if he has some type of clause that states that is the case? I don't know if he does.
But that's not my beef with him.
But when I started hearing about he's kicking this person out, I'm like, well, maybe he's within his right to do that. Remember, we just had a conversation here a couple weeks ago about that meeting they held at Collision, the locker room, and how he was looked at as a great locker room leader. It was talked about how they want to have a tight-knit group. They don't want to have any BS. They don't want to have any childish games being played. That was the thing just a couple weeks ago. So for me, listening to all these people talk, I'm like, well, that is, in my opinion, completely the opposite of what allegedly is happening with all this stuff. Even though I saw the Hangman thing, and I'm still thinking like, but why would he do that? That doesn't make sense. So earlier today, I'm gonna just read it verbatim. It's not too long, but it's some really, really good stuff here. And if you want me to stop at any point, stop so we can have the discourse. So it says sources within AEW confirmed to PWInsider.com this morning that Hangman Page was not removed from this past Saturday's Collision taping. It was simply a case of the location of the promo being moved to a different place, which had zero to do with CM Punk. The belief is that the Punk promo after the show bled into the promo being moved by those looking to knock Punk. As we noted yesterday, Paige lives in the Greensboro area, which is why the promo was going to be filmed that day. It was not a case of the company sending him on the road and then sending him home. We are also told by the same sources that Punk texted an apology to Paige early Sunday morning. And that also came out on Monday from everybody, that Punk sent an apology text to Paige. It says, but the same source remained unaware if the two sides had conversed, just that an apology had been sent. Punk noted he was, quote, rocked, end quote, during the same post-match promo, but no one has confirmed if he was concussed during the 6-man tag against the House of Black.
What does rocked mean? Concussed?
Mm-hmm.
Or mentally out of it. Got it. Okay.
Yep. So what he was saying, what Punk was saying was it meant to come across as a joke, not as a dig. And it didn't come across that way at all. Okay. So that's that part. Let's just stop and talk about the Hangman part first. And then, okay. Yep. And then we'll get to the Ryan Nemeth piece of it, because I think that's also very important. And then we'll also get to the Christopher Daniels piece, which is also very important. So okay, Punk owns, he owns that. Hey, I probably shouldn't have said what I said. Hey, man, that's my bad. I was trying to make a joke. It didn't come across. My apologies. If Hangman was within the right to say, go to hell, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm good. I don't know if he did or not. Maybe he left him on red. Who knows? But now hearing the piece of Punk had nothing to do with Paige being kicked out of Collision or not being allowed to go to Collision, what's your thoughts?
Well, I didn't know that part of it because, like I said, I don't like to try to get into the weeds of he say, she say, and things that's not factual. Remember, I said like I need to. I like to base my opinion off of what I visually saw or what I've heard, physically heard. So I didn't know that he went up there, got kicked out, and then the reporting came out that no, actually the venue changed. Is that what you reported?
No, the location where they were taping the promo was moved.
Got it. I mean, I think that's kind of a coincidence for that to happen. But again, I'm not going to speculate there. As far as an apology, if Punk apologized for it, I can just take the man for his word. If he, he said, I didn't mean it that way, it came off wrong, then thank you for being, man enough to say my bad. That one was on me.
Man, it's a lot of drama on that little show. But yeah, kudos to Punk for apologizing, because that was... You a grown ass man, dog. I get he was making a joke, but if he was concussed and he said something that he probably wouldn't have said if he was in his right mind, who knows, whatever it was. But hey, it's nice that the next day he realized that he said something he probably shouldn't. At the end of the day, man, y'all ain't cool, right? Like, like y'all friends and y'all have previous beefs. It is not a great idea to make any kind of joke on Sonos's behalf, because at the end of the day, can Paige come back at him and give him another joke or give him retort in any kind of a way? Maybe not. I mean, he can go back into the workers' right thing he was trying to talk about, which fell flat at the time anyway. But it just was a bad idea either way. But I don't know, guys. I mean, I just feel like that's one of those things that where you got to exhibit some self-control, right? If he was like 20-something and not 40-something, I will understand. Even at a concussed CM Punk, he should know, man. Look, hey, Punk, hey, I'm on your side, man. I'm just saying, man. Look, we up there in the age, man. And we should be wiser, and we should know how to maneuver through these situations. But at the end of the day, if you want to be an ass, and sometimes it's okay to do that, especially when it's entertaining, right? You got to own it, like, right? If that was your intent, is to, hey, I'm gonna throw some shade. That's what you want to do, is entertainment. Do that. But at the same time, we should be wise enough to not be able to make these kind of mistakes in front of a crowd, national TV, wherever the case may be.
So the biggest thing for me out of that whole thing was, how does it get leaked or mixed up? Oh, that Hangman wasn't barred from Collision. It was his promo got moved. That's the biggest thing for me out of all that. Because then it means that somebody either was told that, or somebody was assumed that, or somebody wanted to start some shit and leak that to the said people who reported that was the case. That was my issue with that. In regard to the Ryan Nemeth situation, one AEW talent believed that him being sent home may have been precipitated by Nemeth walking around and saying hello to everyone at the hotel before the taping, but not stopping and saying hello to CM Punk and others Punk was with. The talent noted that several weeks ago, Punk held a locker room meeting about trying to keep the Collision locker room as drama-free as possible, and that with Nemeth having knocked Punk on Twitter around the time he returned to the ring in Chicago for the Collision premiere, that would fly in the face of that. As we noted yesterday, Punk and Nemeth had a conversation after that tweet several months back, and the belief among a source close to Nemeth was that the two sides were fine. However, the talent who witnessed Nemeth blow off Punk and his group, and blow off is in quotation marks, whether purposely or accidental, the talent could not say, stated that they could see how Nemeth acting that way would set off Punk, given what he's tried to set in the Collision locker room. The source commented that they weren't defending Punk, but they could understand the cause and effect there. As we reported yesterday, AEW VP Pat Buck sent Nemeth home last Saturday, telling him he would be working Wednesdays instead.
So again, the fact here is that Ryan is only now working Dynamite. That's the fact that we have here, right?
The fact is Ryan sent out a disrespectful tweet about CM Punk being the softest man alive when he came back. They had a conversation then. Mm-hmm. He allegedly shows up to the hotel, speaks to everybody but Punk and whoever Punk was with.
But shouldn't he have kept the same energy? If he's talking shit about him on the internet, shouldn't he?
No, because they had a conversation.
But they squashed it.
Yeah, they squashed
it.
They had a man-to-man conversation. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
They squashed it. So if you showing up now and you played us to the side at the hotel and now you're in the locker room, what does that do to the energy back here? That's the facts, according to the source.
So facts is Ryan talk ish on the internet and Punk is like, well, can't say what Punk said. And now he's no longer going to be on Collision. He's going to be on Dynamite.
Well, he was never on Collision, so let's not do that.
Okay. But he was sent home from Collision.
Pat Buck just told him, hey, man, you're working Wednesdays, pal. That's what he said. In regards to the Christopher Daniels situation, as we speculated yesterday, it is 100% a situation where since Ace Steel is not allowed at Collision, Punk put his foot down and doesn't want Daniels there, with the idea that when the entire Backstage fight happened, Daniels was on the elite side of things. Punk obviously will want Steel backstage producing his matches, but that's not looking to happen anytime soon. So there is a logjam that needs to be cleared as Punk dug in what he wants, which is what stars do. Few readers have asked how this feeds into the whatever. So that's everything that was talked about. I don't understand why they haven't all just sat down and had a conversation. Like, unless there is once again something against the law with this, or something against
we gotta be missing something.
They all have signed. Like, you cannot explain to me why Tony Khan has not sit these guys down and had a conversation. Then it came out, and who knows if this is accurate or not, that after Punk cuts his returning promo on Collision in Chicago in the first show, he comes back through Gorilla, and Tony Khan gets up, clapping, and starts chanting CM Punk.
He's a mark
for him. Come on, man.
He's a mark for him.
Like, it's okay to do that if there's no beef. If, like, everything is squashed and everything is kumbaya. That's crazy talk. That's crazy. So that's that. So those are the alleged facts from one source. Now, who knows? One of these sources could be FTR, and that skewed everything to Punk's way. But when I read that, I was like, see, to me, that makes sense.
But what's
that
up
makes
with
a lot
the
more
Jack Perry
sense
thing?
than... Oh, so the Jack Perry thing, which was separate. Jack wanted to use real glass. And Punk basically just said, we don't do that here in Collision. Like, you can do that shit over in Dynamite if you want. Like, we're going to work safe here and do what we need to do. I guess the thing with that was, what is not being mentioned as much is, I guess, Jack kind of threw a tantrum at the agent also. And it was spoken of maybe Punk was also taken up for the agent of like, hey, no, we're not using real glass, and like, watch how you talk to blah, blah, blah. And then after this is where the edict came out that any spots that you want to do, including boom, 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 has to be cleared by the agent first.
So this is all Jack Perry's fault because he wanted to use real glass. They had to come out with a list of things that you can't do without permission.
I just think it's funny that he said you can take that shit dynamite. We don't do that shit over here.
Well, again, that's not a fact. That is what is hearsay. But again, even that right there, if that is true, like, that's still divisive. Like, again, in today's world where we have social media, we're the smartest wrestling fans that probably will ever will be. Everybody knows something, right? Everybody knows something in the locker room. This is unfair to Punk that he is so, everything is so transparent. You know, he is so polarized. One, though, a lot is self-inflicted, but because we are in this new age of information. So a part of it, I do feel like maybe is a little bit unfair to Punk. But his name keep coming up. So that's what I can't wrap my mind around. Like, okay, yeah, all of these different things that you said, okay, it could just be coming back down to, is Collision is Punk's show. And he has, completely full control of who could be there. And all these situations happen because of he don't want them there. But why is it always his name? Why have we had 57 shows. Why I feel like 10 of our shows led off with something that Phil Brooks did.
That's because somebody needs to go ahead and Will Smith some of these people in that company. That's why. Keep my name out your fucking mouth.
Well, he is doing that.
That's right.
The one that's doing it.
Okay, here's the problem, and I told you, we talked about this because Matt and I, we had a good Discord back in the day when this whole scuttlebutt started with CM Punk had his little interview. I was like, man, somebody got to be backstage and gotta pull this stuff together, man. Somebody has to keep this in control, right? Like, I know that WWE is a big company, but you very rarely hear about this type of stuff so much. You heard about it back in the day, maybe, right? Back when Sean and Brett and stuff was going on. You might have heard about it, but you hear about it so much. And we're getting so much firsthand, possibly secondhand information about this stuff, and we're getting it in real time. So somebody's mouth is just running. It's like a faucet in that company, right? We getting details, we getting everything, right? It could be Punk leaking, it could be whoever leaking it. But at the end of the day, somebody in that company got to get this stuff, got to put these people together, man. Like, it seems like Punk's trying to, right his shipping on Collision. And at the end of the day, man, I don't know what the expectation is, man, but that's not your show. That's not your network. That's Tony Khan owns that. He writes those checks. Like, right? He has to answer to Time Warner. So, again, look, if Tony's not that guy, he needs to get those guys installed in that company that can enforce these guys. That can enforce this information. Hey, the next person that runs their mouth, fine. Your push is being cut. Whatever it's going to be. Somebody needs to go ahead and put some checks and balances to these guys to keep their mouth shut. Somebody needs to also get together and understand what the expectations are, right? So at the end of the day, I think it's CM Punk's right as a star of Collision to say who he wants to work with, right? Also, it might be good for his mental too. Like, I wish I was in a position to where I can pick and choose who I interact with on a daily basis when I come to work, right? I kind of do as a little bit. I do kind of hire for the most part. However, in that type of setting, like, why can't I choose? If I don't want Chris Daniels there because I think he's toxic, I don't like the man, why not? If none of, at the end of the day, he's another grown man, because he's in his 30s too. So if you feel some type of way that CM Punk ran up on you and, made you look like a punk, and that's what you feel like, right? Then say that to that man then. Squash it when you had the chance to squash it. If you needed to fight in the moment, fight. Right? You had the opportunity to say or do whatever you need to do in that moment so you can get past it. Because at the end of the day, we men and we got to come into work. So you come into an event, and it's all about networking. So if you know that this man has some pull, right? You know this man has some pull. You going to sit there and you going to forget. You ain't forget. You know what I'm saying? You ain't forget. I'm with Punk on that in a lot of ways, right? Like, you ain't forgetting. And guess what? If this dude who gonna talk all this junk on Twitter, I run up in your face, you trying to de-escalate, everything's all good. Now the next time I see you, You want to not speak it and you want to show to my show for work? Nah, bruh. You can go take that back to Dynamite. Because we ain't doing that on my show. I think, look, if he has that type of power, obviously he does, more power to him. But at the end of the day, somebody has to enforce what's going on in that company. Somebody has to tighten that ship up. And somebody got to get these mouths closed. Because, hey, it's actually been interesting, right? Because I had some free time on my lunches. I actually took a lunch this week, guys. I took a lunch. I took a whole 30-minute lunch.
Nice.
I was like, oh, wow, this is nice to sit down and not have to worry about, answering the email or following up with somebody. I actually get to decompress and with my phone and not have to worry about anything for 30 minutes. It was nice. But I was reading all these things. It made the time go by. It was so much interesting information. But I almost feel like, in a lot of ways, this is the information we should have at our disposal, right? I feel like they should be doing things that kind of uplift that show and puts it in a positive light. So hey, Tony, I could do that for you, man. Look, you pay me enough, I'll be everybody's bad guy. You know what I'm saying? I'll come on there, I'll making everybody mad. I'm kicking I'm finding everybody, man. I'll be the next John Laurinaitis, but without the sex charges.
Oh, come on, man. You can't do that. Oh, well. As the world turns, we'll talk on Sunday what happened at Dynamite. Because I am sure that is going to be the talk of the town. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be talk of the town. All right, well, I'm done with any type of serious talk. I'm probably going to be joking through the rest of the pod. But I do got one thing I got to say, and I'm going to throw it to you guys to talk about whatever you want to talk about, and I'll just chime in. I was a saying I used to say all the time. Rhodesia's heard me saying, E heard me said it a lot during Black and Gold NXT. I definitely said it the first month and a half. Triple H took over, head of creative on WWE main roster. And it was, in H we trust. So I used to say that a lot. Like, if there was ever a time I was worried about some type of storyline or something on the show, I'd just say in H we trust because I know he's going to do the right thing. I came out here on my platform and talked about it is a miscarriage of justice. How do we have the second biggest show of the year from WWE? And Becky Lynch is off the show. Trish Stratus is off the show. Rhea Ripley is off the show. How? How is that possible? That is a travesty. In H we trust. I think Triple H had everybody kind of just come into a room a couple weeks ago, and he's like, hey, just kind of talk me through what your match looks like. What you guys plan on doing at SummerSlam. And I think Becky and I think Trish came in, and they told him what the plan was, and he's like, you know what? Okay, kind of show me. So they go out to the ring, and they kind of go through some of the spots, and I think Triple H said, damn, you know what? We ain't got time for this match. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to put it on Raw, Trish, in your home country, and we're going to make it a big deal. Ladies leave, and I think Triple H said, what the fuck was that? Damn, we are in trouble. And then they're like, but you just told me they're going to main event he said, I didn't tell them they're going to main event Monday Night Raw. I just said they're going to have their match on Monday Night Raw. And we saw the results of said conversations on this past week's Monday Night Raw. And I'll be damned if they didn't have an off night. And I always talk about it. It is fine to have an off night. But whoa, buddy. In H we trust. You put that match on SummerSlam. And I think Roman Reigns put in the best performance in the history of the business, if you compare it.
You got me speechless over here. I'm not going there with you.
Triple H said, if y'all don't get this trash ass match out of here, I ain't putting this on the second biggest show of the year. Detroit deserves more than this. We'll give it to Winnipeg. Which Winnipeg, you guys suck.
God, dog.
Another bad crowd. You guys had 2 straight months of awesome crowds. And instead of outside like the first 30 minutes, it was so bad. They had to pipe in the entire main event match of noise.
That's probably what distracted them. They heard the energy through the television, and that's what distracted them. So, Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch. Thoughts? Off night. We saw it. Off night. They both are great wrestlers. One's already in the Hall of Fame. The other one is a future Hall of Famer. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to judge them in any way of saying that it was trash. We all saw what happened there. It was just an off night. I do want, though, the rubber band match to happen. I guess it's going to be Steel Cage, not Hell in a Cell, but Steel Cage.
A salad,
Steel Cage. And Trish always wanted this, and rightfully so. She should have the opportunity to do it because, one, she's still in great shape after all this time and have been retired for how many years? 6, 7 years? I don't even know how many years she's been retired for. So she deserves Steel Cage. But after that, I think it needs to be done. I think she came back. She had her run. She had it with the best person I thought they could probably pair her up with, which was Becky Lynch. And let it go. Let it be done.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, she there was a quote that came out. She talked about that's one of the things she's never done. When she was working, they definitely didn't let women, in Steel Cage matches. There was not a Hell in a Cell for women to get involved in. So this was like one of her bucket list things. So it's awesome that she gets a chance now to work a Steel Cage match. But yeah. You wanted to talk about the women's revolution, everything last week. Go ahead and put a positive spin on this one, buddy.
Man, Trish looked great. She looks phenomenal.
She does.
Right? She did look great.
And I was trying to, if I wanted to say this, because I feel like I should say it as a man, but man, like I'm not going to say it. Because my wife might listen to this, and I don't want to get myself in trouble. So,
well, you say you didn't want to say it because you are a man. You mean like now you got to give it to us.
No,
I was going to go ahead.
I had a whole thing. I was like, now I'm going to take that back because I'm going to get myself in trouble. I'll just put it this way. There was I'm going too far. I'm going to take it back. I'm pull it back.
Wow.
But yeah, she looks great. I think she looks phenomenal too. I like her gear. You guys say Becky's a great wrestler. Y'all are really nice. I appreciate y'all that. I'm a fan of Becky, but when I think of like great wrestler, I don't put Becky Lynch up in there. I can't tell you the last great Becky Lynch match I've seen. And like, look, Trish, she looks phenomenal, right? But she hasn't been regularly wrestling in a very, very long time. Like, and then they had time, right? So if they pulled that match from SummerSlam, they had a couple extra weeks to kind of tighten that match up. There was a couple of spots in there. It just was. And when you talk about an off night, I don't think it was an off night. I think that's the skill level that they have for the match. I don't know if the two of their styles, because like here's the thing, I don't think Becky. I think we think about the 4 horsewomen, right? You got Charlotte, you got Mercedes. I'm still having a hard time saying Mercedes. We got Mercedes. You got Bayley, who's super solid. Like, right? And then there's Becky. Like, right? Then there's Becky. I just don't think that she can carry somebody in a match. And this is me now. I'm not rounding up these matches anymore, right? It's either good or it's not. And I haven't seen many great Becky Lynch matches. For me, that's not who she is. I feel like she's a great character. She's a great personality. And I think that she's most of the time good on the microphone. At least she's very natural. She can get that microphone and she can do her thing, right? Not everyone can do that. But she's just not a great wrestler, y'all. And we're asking Becky to carry, 43-year-old Trish. I'm take some years off, baby, because you look beautiful. You signed my pop figure back there. Thank you for that. 43-year-old Trish. It's not gonna happen. And the match went on too long, and it wasn't great. It wasn't an off night because she's not a great wrestler. She's a fine wrestler and a great personality.
I feel opposite. I can't stand Becky's character at all, but I completely respect how she goes in the ring.
Ugh.
I can't stand her. Every time she gets on the mic.
What's your favorite Becky Lynch match? Don't think too hard because you think she's great. You shouldn't have to think that hard.
Well, you said best, so then that's why I have to go back in my memory bank. There's been a lot of matches where I was like, she went. She
give me one.
Went in the ring. I can't do it off of the top of my head right now.
Because she's not a great wrestler. She's fine.
I think she's a great wrestler. I think she got the 4 Horsemen title, rightfully so. I just don't like her on the mic. And I know people love her on the mic. I can't stand her on the mic. But she's technically sound. Now, the point that you made of can she carry a match with Trish? Well, we kind of saw what happened last night. But I would put Becky up there as one of the elite female wrestlers as far as skill.
Hey, Trish had a hell of a chick kick though at the end. Wasn't that a
she
real
did.
Kick?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, she did. I was just looking at. I pulled up Cage Match. They went 11 minutes last night. I enjoyed Becky and Zoe from a few weeks ago. I remember I enjoyed the first Becky and Trish match in Saudi. That was right after Mania. Yeah, I enjoyed that match.
Oh, you're right. Yep,
I said it felt like a fight. It didn't feel like a traditional WWE match, and that I enjoyed it. It wasn't it. So of course I was joking when my whole Triple H thing. But what I will say is this: it's time for the feud to be over. We know the cage match is gonna be the blow off, and all eyes will be on Becky Lynch.
Yep.
For the next program that she's in.
Yep.
And I will leave it at that.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, I'm not ready for Trish to go. Please don't go, Trish. Just stay around a little bit longer.
Oh, she ain't got to leave. Yeah. It ain't time. She ain't got no thank yous yet.
This feud just didn't connect like it should have. I think on paper, you look at it on paper, this should have been a really good feud. They've given them a lot of time. Just for whatever reason, it hasn't. But please, Trish, stay around a little bit longer. Let me see what I need to see just for a little bit longer.
And I love Zoe. Man.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of hers.
It seemed like she did this in a previous life.
I'm a big fan of hers. It was good, too. I was telling Rhodesia that when they were in Detroit, they did tryouts like they typically do, the weekends of their big shows. And Zoe, I guess she was going in on some of these college athletes. And she's just like, look, this is not like your second option. This is not, well, if this doesn't work, I'll do something else. She's like, if you have that mentality, get out of here. I was like, I like that. I like that. And that's the way it should be. So good for her. And bad on us. We went a whole episode, and I know it's not wrestling related, but we did not bring up the chair swinging swimmers and all that kind of good stuff from out there down south. And then the New Day show up with chairs on Raw to represent. So at least we get a chance to bask in that glory. Only the New Day. Only the New Day could get away with talking about move your boat.
Are you serious?
I didn't catch
Go back and watch that. It was one of the highlights of the show. One of the highlights of the show. They sitting there just cutting promos with chairs in their hand.
Because I remember they had the chairs, but I didn't catch it.
Yeah. When the first thing that came to my mind after I was like, whoa, and I came back to reality, like they really have a chair in their hand. I'm like, I wonder if H knew if he was in the know.
Everybody has to know. Like,
I mean,
that was a major thing.
He might be so wrapped up in work. We hear all the time that they don't watch other federations and stuff like that. Maybe he's just kind of been under a rock and just in the wrestling world for the last week. But I wonder when they went to him and they said, yeah, we're going to introduce chairs into our promo backstage. What was on H's mind?
If you're a New Day, you can get away with doing whatever you want. Whatever you want. They know the line that they can toe. So shout out to them, man. That was fantastic. I loved it. What else did you guys like from Raw?
Let me take a look here.
What do you guys? I mean, the Judgment Day are getting a lot of play on that TV, and I told you I didn't want to see Finn break it off, but I'm really enjoying where they're going with this thing. I didn't think I would actually be interested in JD. Actually, that actual episode kind of made me more interested in him as a character, and I really enjoy Damian Priest and what he's doing. I think his whole demeanor, right? He seems like he's not that bad of a guy, like right. He's still kind of champion for Finn, but he's like, yo, dude, you doing a little bit too much. You need to come together. You need to figure it out. Like I love what they're doing right now in the ring. Hey, did you guys think they piped in those boos for Dominic?
No.
You think those were legit?
I think those are legit. That first one?
Well, we know typically they are legit. We've gotten reports from people who've been there live that say no, it's legit. But last night it sounded a little funky. It
sound more. It didn't sound
last
natural.
night sounded a little funky, and it could have just been because Winnipeg didn't bring their A game, so they want to make sure that stays going. But I can see why you said that. It sounded a little funky.
Yeah, because
I think the first time it wasn't.
Hey, I'd be interested in knowing actually. With that being said, because he was definitely reacting to something during the promo. Mm-hmm. So I wonder, was just the crowd not mic'd that well, right? Maybe Winnipeg did bring it, and it just wasn't. It didn't come across like that on television, because you hear that a lot of times where guys are calling different shows to say, oh, no, we were live, we were rowdy. I don't know why it didn't come across on television. So maybe they were louder than we thought. It just wasn't mic'd well.
Could be. Yeah.
I have a couple things from Raw that stood out. The modern day Debo, Piper coming as the new women's tag team champion.
Absolutely. Let's be an air horn for Piper being back. The Monster Piper. I was a little disappointed that we didn't get Chelsea's Got Talent for like weeks. I thought that we know she could have ran with that. But when Piper was like, no, I'm the champ. Okay, cool. Got it. That means they're positioning Piper in a good space that I don't really think we've seen from her yet on the main roster at all.
Not on main roster, no.
Yeah, so this is something
she was dewdrop this whole time.
I'm very intrigued with. Yep.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. And then Chelsea's face of kind of almost like fear. So just to see those two, we've seen like if it's not a true authentic tag team, sometimes the polar opposites work really well together. The other one that I had was, and this is a question for the two of y'all. So, Shinsuke and Seth is feuding right now. At the end, he whispers something to Seth. Wrong answers only. What did Shinsuke say to Seth?
Becky Lynch is a good wrestler.
Damn it, you took my answer. I swear I was going to say that because you said wrong answers only.
Yeah.
No, he got the cake. I can't top that because I was going to say, yep. He said Becky Lynch is like the GOAT, and Seth is just like, what? I know she's not.
Don't do that. Don't do that because he rides for his woman. So don't do that. Don't do that.
It's jokes, man. I'm joking. I'm serious.
Matthew said tribal combat. I said, okay, I like that one.
He did say that.
Yeah. And then the one I said that you should have said, talking about Matt, I don't speak English.
I've said that. Rhodesia said she don't know if it's racist or not. I think now that Shinsuke is a heel, he comes out, let him always talk, say something in English. And then as soon as he's pushed on something that he doesn't want to answer or he doesn't like, he just hits him with the I don't speak English and walks away. I think that is a fantastic heel move. Now, like I said, I don't know if somebody would think about that being racist. I don't think so because everybody knows Shinsuke can speak English, but just like what, like how great is that? Like, dude, we know you can speak English. No, you just don't want to talk about it now.
Well, that happened with Tozawa, right? Tozawa did it, I think, before, didn't he? When it was like around the 24/7 championship, and then all of a sudden he got some pushback, and he's like, "Oh, I don't speak English," and he took off running.
Probably so. He's always running though.
Always running.
He's a runner. He's a runner. He's a track star.
Again, we also have Gunther going in on them, talking about to Ludwig that if your mind wasn't on these girls, keep your mind off these girls and unmatched. I mean, he's going in on them. I'm interested to see how this is going to play out, just with Imperium.
Are you guys giving Chad any chance next week?
Because it's not the big date, the history breaking date. I'm correct, right? It's not the big history breaking date.
Correct. Yeah, he's got 30 days or something like that.
I'm gonna have to go with no.
Nope.
Yep. Probably some shenanigans, and hopefully he gets to the point where he gets past that, and then he drops it to Chad. But I mean, do we really want Chad to take it right now? Is Chad hot enough? No, we know he's not going to win it next week. So they got another 3 weeks, a month, who knows how long to heat him up to where if they do run it back at a PLE, you can make it a big deal. But do you think they can get Chad Gable heated up enough in the next 30 to 45 days to where you say, yep, he is deserving and he's hot enough to take the prestige that Gunther made that IC title and it transitions over to him?
You always say that this is predetermined and is written. So the answer to that question should have to be yes. He already has some momentum right now over his last couple matches that he's had. So if you can write this, because this is not real life, we should be able to get him there if that's what they're wanting to do, if they want him to be the new IC champion.
Nope. I was talking to somebody. Was I talking to him? I'm not sure. But was talking to someone on Twitter, and they were saying the difference between Vince and Triple H in their booking is that Vince is all about risk, right? You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. And I felt like in the past decade, I hated most of his risks. Triple H has very safe booking. I don't know if he can actually book to get someone over. I think he's really good at booking people who are organically getting over, right? So I think the storylines that he's going to put him in, I don't know if they're going to put more shine on a Chad Gable to make him bigger in the fans' eyes. I feel like if Gable gets over, it's going to be because, you know, his matches, his mic work, etc. It's going to be something organic. I don't know if he's going to get over enough organically to really have a chance to beat Gunther. Do I think that maybe 6 months from now, Chad can be a bigger star? Absolutely. He's going to keep putting in the work. People are going to respect him. I think people are going to take him more seriously. But I don't think it's going to be by the time that match happens.
Wow, that's really interesting, the comment you made about Triple H not being able to book people to get him over. Because I think about Gunther. We talked about all the time how he was on the outs with Vince. He was not that popular. He was IC champion at the time, but he was not that popular. I think about Rhea. We know what Rhea was up under Vince. I think about Ricochet. I think about Austin Theory. And yes, Austin Theory is cold as ice now. But after he dropped that Money in the Bank briefcase, he started bubbling. Much better than the selfie king that he was. I think about, I guess maybe Asuka is arguable. But I think about Io. Io's definitely much bigger. Dakota was much bigger. It's probably a lot. I mean,
I think you're right about Austin Theory. I think he put him in. I think he puts people in positions, right? I think he sees something in somebody, he puts them in positions to succeed. But okay. I don't think he's like, he doesn't create that character that puts them over, right? I don't think he puts them. I don't think even some like that's what I'm thinking. Like, you know, the actual creating a character or somebody. I think he puts people in position that they can flourish in. And I think he's really great at seeing the potential. Like, hey, if I do these things for this person, their talent's going to speak for themselves.
Yeah, well, I can see you when you say character. I can see the over the top personality. I can see that. Like, you know, Vince was known for. I mean, this is low hanging fruit. Hogan, Cena, Rock,
right?
Austin. You know what I'm saying? Like the larger than life, bigger than anything we could ever imagine type of personality. And even when Triple H was running NXT, it was really realistic storylines and characters that you wanted to root for or you wanted to boo. And then we tell our stories through old school wrestling storylines.
Yeah.
Right. You know, even look at Cody. Now, I wonder if Vince was, okay, I will say this. I think if Vince was handling the day-to-day storylines and
I'm getting nervous
angles,
just thinking about that.
Like day-to-day, like, right, where he's in Gorilla every single week. They're running meetings. They are writing toward Vince's vision. I think Cody is nowhere near as over as he is right now.
You're saying under Vince, Cody would not be comparable?
Nowhere near. Because Cody is a typical white meat babyface. Cody is that babyface from the 80s right now. It has not worked in wrestling
in a very long time. In
decades, really.
Yeah.
And I think if Cody would have come 2 years before, and I know the whole thing was Vince said, you know, we're buying something that works while we change it. I know he's going through all that. But if you were to put Cody in numerous rematches every week on Raw or every Friday on SmackDown, if you were to put, you know, Cody in illogical stories that make the fans be like, man, I really don't want to cheer this guy. We know Vince has had a problem with booking baby faces for the majority of the audience. Roman Reigns. All the adults, besides the women, booed Roman Reigns. Kids loved him. John Cena. The men booed John Cena. Same thing, right? We can keep going and keep going and keep going. But that was, and it worked. We know it worked. But in terms of just like buying into that person, I think that is not even close. I think that Triple H is doing a better job than Vince would be with Cody.
I'll be honest. I think for once, I think Vince might have actually did right by Cody. I think he had a plan for him because, as you just said, like Vince went down to the man's house. I don't know who I'm not sure in history who he's actually gone down to their house to sign them, right? He actually saw potential. I think that the type of character that Cody is right in his wheelhouse. And I think he would have did right by Cody because he can only do right by with certain characters, right? And that type of babyface that Cody is something he understands and could have got behind. And he could have collaborated with Cody to present that character. Because I don't actually think that character is too far off from where he is. Like I don't think he would have been that much different. The storylines may be hit or miss, but I think overall, I think we would have gotten a similar Cody because this version of Cody almost is actually very Vince McMahon-like to me. And I'm actually, as a fan, I'm surprised that this character's gotten over like it's gotten over. It seems very Vince McMahon to me.
I actually feel the opposite of both of y'all. I feel that this is more Cody than Vince or Triple H because the difference is Vince had these white hot baby faces or white meat baby faces. I think that's what you said, that the men didn't like. Men love Cody too. So I'm putting this more on actually Cody than Vince or Cody. Triple H. So
you love him.
Under Vince Tutelage, men hated John Cena. Men hated Roman Reigns until, of course, Roman Reigns people wanted to cheer him because he was a bad guy after a while. But they hated him. They hated those guys. They hated the faces. But Cody,
hey, you know what though? I'm sorry to interrupt. I like as a Cody fan, we can't say that Vince really did a bad job with John Cena because John Cena carried that company for a very, very long time. Like the men can say that, like dudes can say they hated him, but most men respected what he was doing, and he made that company a lot of money. So I don't want to say that he didn't necessarily do right by John. I think he did awesome by John Cena, and I think John Cena probably was very collaborative in his image with Vince.
No, I think that we know John Cena was important.
But one thing that's different about Cody, I think Cody, he looks cool. Like I think his gear is tight. Like, you know, John Cena with them jean shorts and what was it, Pumas, the Pump It Ups? What was them we used to wear back in the day, man?
The Reeboks.
Reeboks back in the day, man, and all that other fake swag he had going on. Like that doesn't want to hit. But you know, Cody come out, he looked like $1,000, right? Like one thing guys didn't like, they're like, oh, he looks too clean, he's in the suits, blah 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 blah. But you know, they finally shut that noise up because like the dudes like, man, look, there's nothing wrong with looking clean in a 3-piece suit. Nothing wrong with it at all, right? His gear is phenomenal. Like, you know, his hair looks like his daddy. I think this Cody just looks cool and he acts cool. I think Cena, I don't know why I call him Cena sometimes, but John Cena, to me, he looked like a goof. Like in all them jean shorts and them ugly he didn't even have the sweet gym shoes on. He had like them Kmart specials back in the day. You know, like off the rack, Target shoes he was wearing.
What you're not gonna do?
He just didn't look cool to me. But I think Cody.
I knew that was coming.
Cody looks cool.
Hold on, he's on a ladder with Punk right now. Let me get him off the ladder. Hold on.
I knew that was coming. You said one. You said
Look
one
at
too
this
many
specimen.
You said one too many bad things about John Cena.
Look at this
I knew
specimen.
That was coming.
Look at this specimen. Okay.
Not cool.
For you listeners, you got to go to our YouTube channel now to look at this. Look at this specimen.
But that does go back to what I was saying a couple weeks ago about how wrestling is now again cool.
He got black shoes on and white socks, man. That says all you need to know.
No, he don't have white socks. Not on this one.
Oh, I thought I saw some white socks in that boy. All right.
That's a paint peeling right there.
Matt played with that thing a little too hard when he was a kid. We need a new one. What else y'all got from Raw?
Probably not even really to talk about it, but I did feel a little bit off, or I wish it was a little bit more. They tried it, but with indie wrestling, Rhea, of course, it probably was already a disaster because she was going against Rhea. But, they made a comment that they've known each other for 11 years. They're both from Australia. I just thought maybe there should have been a little bit more pomp and circumstances there. But then saying this out loud right now, I don't know how and why would they. But again, it was a decent match. I just maybe thought because there was more history there between the two of them that maybe we would have heard more of it. But they tried. They addressed it on commentary, but I just thought it was a little bit more.
And they gave Indy that really nice video package.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
yep, okay. The fan base, which was cool. But it wasn't her night. It wasn't about her. Also wasn't about Becky and Trish either, evidently.
You know what?
Damn. Wow. What else? What else from Raw?
That was it.
We didn't talk about it on Sunday. There's some rumors that Friday's match with Edge and Sheamus is going to be Edge's last match. This was a rumor months ago when the SmackDown show was announced being in Canada. It was talks of that would be Edge's final match. Because Edge made a comment a while ago that he wanted his last match to be, in Canada. And I don't know if his contract is up or it's about to be up, but you put two and two together, people really circled that. And then it kind of went away. He comes out and, has the interaction with Sheamus. They set up the match for this Friday. And then his trainer comes out and his trainer says, I don't have the quote, but he says, I think this is Edge's last match. Let me see if I can find it. Exactly what he said.
While you're looking for it, my commentary around that is I just really hope that he can announce it and get those accolades. Because wait, it's coming?
It's this Friday.
Wow. See,
and that was gonna be my question to you.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Then
for both of you, would you always like to know when you're watching that person's final match, or are you okay with not knowing? And then if they lose and you find out later, you're like, okay, well, at least I watched it. What's your thoughts on that?
Edge is a bit different because he's already retired once. So in this particular case, I would want to know. And I'm not even an Edge fan, but I would want to know that, hey, this is my last time I'm going to see him on WWE TV. So that I think is important because there's people who are invested in love Edge. Now, if it was like The Undertaker and how what we thought was special when he left his boots in the ring, that was against Roman, I believe, right? In Santa Clara?
Yep.
That right there, and I cried like a baby when that happened. I would have been okay with that being his final match. So, not knowing ahead of time, maybe I would have been mad, but I was there in person, so I was able to experience it. So if it's your last match, it's your first time retiring, just make it feel good to me, however you do it. But in this case here, he's already retired, and hey, this is going to be my last match. You're already a legacy act. It should be known because it needs to be celebrated.
I agree with Rhodesia. I want to kind of know ahead of time. And I kind of don't want to be on I don't want to say a random SmackDown, but I would like to be on a bigger stage. I like to see his final match at a Mania. Kind of a maybe, I don't want to say passing of a torch type of a deal. Maybe passing of a torch type of deal. I'm sure that if this is potentially his last match, and I don't know if that story that they told last week was, a real story or not. But if it is, I would see why he would want Sheamus to be his last match. But however, for me, I like to know ahead of time so I can get my emotions right.
Right.
So I can, make sure I got everything right so I can celebrate it myself as a fan. So I hope that this is not the last match that we see from Edge, not to Mania.
I agree. And it doesn't even have to be at WrestleMania. It could be on SmackDown, but promote it as such. Don't have him come out and just cut a promo a week before, and then that's it. So here's the quote. It's a part quote. His trainer's name is Ron Hutchinson. Says he believes that Edge will have his final match this week on SmackDown. And Ron says, there's a big thing here. A year ago, Edge had said he was going to retire at the 2023 Summer Show in Toronto. So I do remember that. So I was right on that. He's known Edge for 30 years. Ron has. He said they certainly did not build it up like that. But that was interesting, where he said it's most likely Edge's last match. That's the quote. So I'm hoping that's not the case.
And And if that is the case, then I expect to see then on SmackDown, like even the start of the show, maybe not in the very first opening segment, something that's going to lead up to, if it's a quick 30-second video package of a leading up that we know that this, because they haven't told us last SmackDown that this is going to be his last match. I need to see it more than just the actual match, if that is his final match. I need to see more there on the show.
We shall see.
Mm-hmm. Last episode, we talked about big men, and I don't want to go down the beat on AEW again, because I'm not going to do that. But it led me to thinking about this question for you two, and for me too. And I know y'all going to call me out on my ish, but big men in wrestling. Question for you two. Who is your favorite big man in wrestling, and why? Elaborate, if you like.
Want me to go first?
Yeah, go first.
All right, so I don't actually like a lot of big men, but you know what I was thinking of.
But you call yourself Big Daddy.
Yes, that's a contradiction, right? Well, I like me. I'm talking about other wrestlers.
Got it. Go ahead.
But when I was thinking about big men, I was thinking of like the Andre the Giants or like the Big Shows. Just necessarily tall, but big guys are also, you know, girth as well. And so actually, there were quite a few. I would say probably my favorite. I'm gonna give you three because I looked at the list. I enjoyed these three guys. I'll say my favorite guy was Vader. I thought Vader was awesome in WCW, man. Like he just brought it. I thought he looked cool. I loved the power bomb. I love that he was a big dude that can do a moonsault. He had the Vader bomb. I thought he just was phenomenal. My second favorite big man was Bam Bam Bigelow. I used to love Bam Bam Bigelow as a kid. Man, I remember there was a wrestling game. I can't think of which one it was. Maybe Matt, you might remember, but he was in it, and he can do cartwheels. And so I used to do the cartwheels all the time. He used to do the moonsault. And, you know, just this big dude that was just so agile. And I thought he looked cool with the tattoos on the head and everything. I thought he just was great. And then Yokozuna. Yokozuna had an awesome run. Right, and I had no idea for years that he wasn't Japanese. I just knew he was a Japanese guy. I didn't know he's actually part of the bloodline, right? Until I got a little bit older. But I thought he had an awesome run too, because he can really go for a big guy. He was like 500 pounds or whatever it was, but he moved very, very swiftly for a guy his size. I loved him as a champion. So those are my three guys.
Nice. Your internet went out for me on the last one. I think you were talking about Yokozuna.
Yoko.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Yeah, and we found out his actual nationality.
Yeah, like I thought he was Japanese for years.
Yeah. We all did. That's crazy.
Matt, what you got? Who's your favorite big guy or favorite big guys?
Oh man, mine was Sid.
Oh, yeah, Sid. He was good.
Yeah, and it wasn't anything about. For one, it was the power bomb, and like any kid loves to do a power bomb. We've all done it with like pillows. If you had one of the wrestling buddies, you've done it. It was just like one of the coolest things. But like for me, Sid, and like no, his work doesn't. Sid ain't got no classic matches, or like, oh man, you gotta pop this in and watch. But it was everything. It was just it was his personality. It was all of it. Like he was the man for me. So it was that. Now if I was talking like work rate and all that kind of stuff, you got to go like Taker. I mean, he's one of the best big men like in the history of the business. But it was Sid. Like Sid was my guy.
You know, I always thought Sid should have been like a champion, like right, like a world champion. Like you know, as a kid, I never understood why he wasn't pushed harder. Maybe I don't know if that's the right word. Back in the day, as a kid, I thought he should have went further than he did.
Didn't Sid used to come out with a beer, or am I mixing up with somebody?
The only person that came out with a beer was either Sandman or Stone Cold.
I'm thinking of Sandman then. Okay.
Oh, I mean, in Beer Money, in Impact. I know you didn't watch it back then.
Robert Roode.
Yep.
No, not Robert Roode.
And you know, and shout out for Robert Roode too. He was backstage at SummerSlam doing some trials for being a producer. Yep. He was shadowing. And Rhodesia, actually give your answer. And I got something that I just saw about Lacey Evans. I got to ask you guys really quick before we head out of here.
Even though I took him off my Mount Rushmore last week or last episode, it is The Undertaker. Someone who has such a just one-dimensional on paper personality character. I felt like, well, as the dead man, and of course he became an American Badass, but I felt he lived in that moment. He made it him. I mean, even so that he wouldn't go places without being in character, he fully embodied that character. So I absolutely loved The Undertaker. One thing I would be remiss to say, and this is not me saying anything about me liking him as a person or disliking him, but I really felt like the times I got to see Braun Strowman work in the ring, like freely, I was incredibly impressed of how he went in the ring. So I just wanted to drop that there. Again, he's not my favorite in any way, shape, or form, but it just, when I would see him wrestle, I would be like, wow, he's huge. And to be able to do these things with ease, that is impressive.
Well, he's another one too, E, to your point of the larger than life stars. Braun probably does better under Vince than he will under Triple H. Mm-hmm. If he, blank canvas, we don't know who this guy is. They bring him in. Yeah, Vince can make him larger than life and all that. Triple H to see his work and just like, I don't know about that. He wouldn't make it to SummerSlam either.
Dang.
It looks like Lacey Evans maybe either leaving WWE or she's already left. So there was some talk about this yesterday on social media. She changed all of her handles. So I'm guessing her real name, which is Macy Estrella. That's what it is on Instagram, Limitless Macy. She switched it on Twitter, and her Instagram handle underneath it says World Traveler, U.S. MC veteran, motivational speaker, coffee lover / creative, and formerly known as WWE superstar Lacey Evans. Do you care if Lacey is gone from WWE?
I think that was one that, do I care? Mm-hmm. Yes, I care because I saw so much potential in her. One of the first few times I would see her, I'm like, man, she has it to me. She was strong, and then she went off, had a child, and came back and looked even better to me. It just didn't hit. I guess probably right person, just not the right time, both times around. So yeah, I feel a little disappointed that she's leaving because I thought there was just so much more meat on the bones with her. But everything you just said that she said on Instagram, IG, good for her. Go live your life.
Yeah, I was actually a fan of Lacey. I liked her a lot with her original gimmick, the Southern Belle. I feel like it was kind of downhill a little bit for her once they kind of moved away from that. Unfortunately, it kind of, she got pregnant, came back, and she never was able to kind of regain where she was. She had multiple, character changes. She did the Sergeant Slaughter thing. That didn't work out. I thought she had a lot of I thought first of all, she's beautiful. Mm-hmm. She can talk. She has a presence. We'll talk about the in-ring work. Yeah. But I felt there's a lot of potential in her. Man, I guess this is why some women, they're hesitant on pausing their career for family, but kudos to her for doing that. And maybe, this is going to put her in a better position. Maybe she can go to AEW, right? They need some more character-driven women in that division. Maybe she can kind of go over there and bring a little pizzazz, maybe some Southern flavor if she wants to do that. Because she has also a very interesting story. Her story of adversity that she came over, her parents and her childhood, things of that nature, and how she's very, very involved in her children's upbringing to be a positive role model for them. I think that's a story that should be shared and highlighted. So hopefully I know she's gonna land on her feet. She's gonna land on her feet. I like to see her somewhere. Maybe in Impact. She can go there. They need more women there to kind of showcase that division. I'll be watching you, Macy, whatever your name is.
Yeah, her last Instagram post she just put up says, "When the clock strikes 12, you will address me as Macy from here on out." Oh, and this jacket is up for grabs, and the jacket is a Lacey Evans jacket that she's wearing. She's had a lot of.
She got something poking too in that Instagram picture.
Yeah, a little booty out.
Yeah,
she's had some like personal views on some things that puts her like off to me. So from a professional perspective, I thought they could have maybe done something with, and they kept doing the start-stop gimmick, and they kept flipping her a little bit and switching her face heel. But if a lot of the stuff that I remember about her, some of the things she said and did like outside of wrestling, she's probably better off in like NWA. And then she can just stay there. I'll leave it at that.
I didn't even know about that, so.
Yeah.
I only knew about the food comment she had made.
Yeah, she made a few things.
So we should say good riddance then? Sorry.
Sure can. If you want to.
I'm not going to waste my energy to look it up because she's not there anymore, so keep it moving.
All right, so it is the Wednesday show. So, E, I'm going to ask you what you thought I asked you at the end of last show. What are you most looking forward to for this wrestling week? So, of course, we know Dynamite, they got a week and a half left until All In. I don't think they announced any major matches for Collision. If they do, I'm just forgetting it right now, so my bad. That's on me. SmackDown, of course, we'll see what the next thing is for LA Knight. We'll see if they touch anything with the Bloodline. What are you most looking forward to this week?
Collision. I want to see Punk go top out. I want him to throw another pipe bomb on Daniels and Dolph and his little brother, and I want him to talk about. I want him to come in the ring with a whole. I want him to be Santa Claus, right? I want him to have a whole knapsack, and he dump it in the ring. It's just all the Hangman action figures. I want him to dump it all in the ring, right?
Oh, you want him to triple down on his?
Oh yeah, I want him to triple, quadruple down on it, right? And then I want to see the arena go black, right? And then it's House of Black, and they just scooping up all the Hangman action figures and scooping them right into the trash can. Like, that's what I want to see on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. But we're not gonna see the Bloodline on Friday, so
yeah, I don't think so.
Get used to seeing somebody new on that show. God dang it!
You know, Adam Page almost saved my life one time. I said, Adam Page almost saved my life one time. I was about to fall to my death, and he was about to catch me. Since then, I knew that I can never turn my back on Adam Hangman Page. For me, what I'm probably looking most forward to.
So stop. That's not how you. Like,
yeah, all right. I'm like, are you going to tell the story?
Because the story wasn't even that good at all. I just wanted to put that in.
So
there.
That's when you don't bring it up, then.
But I had to bring it up because I'm trying to big up Adam Page.
We are at a Ring of Honor show, and for some reason he is just like standing out with the doors open. Just don't know why. And I don't even think Rhodesia knew who like Page was at that time. So we're walking to our seats, and he's just like standing up against the wall. And there's like they have the cables running because I think they were taping TV.
I had my stilettos on.
Yeah, and we're walking. And he's like, "Watch your step there." And then she's like, "Oh, thank you." And I still don't think she knew who he was. So we sat down. I was like, "Do you know who that was?" Yeah, I think she said no. I was like, "That was Hangman, Adam Page." She's like, "Are you kidding me? Seriously?" So now she tells the story that
almost fell and he grabbed me and saved me and whisked me to safety, right? Anywho, what I'm looking forward to is if it is true, Edge's last match. May he leave everything out on the ring and have fun with a longtime 20-year friend in Sheamus. So looking forward to that.
Mine is to see what Ricky's doing. He talked about last week that he starts his manager license next week on Collision. I'm very intrigued to see who he has or what he has in store for these next 30 days. So that is what I'm most looking forward to. But we got a jam-packed weekend. If you guys out there are football fans, I'm sure your team is playing probably Saturday or Friday. UFC has a major pay-per-view on Saturday night. Collision went up against another heavy competition day last week, and ratings were right around that 500,000 mark, I believe, again. So that may be where they kind of sit until the fall's over, because they've been there now for 2 weeks.
You know what this sounds like to me?
What's that?
Action-packed weekend? Me winning a lot of money gambling. Mm-hmm. Let's go.
You gonna win your dollar back?
I might double it down.
You can go $2?
I might go $2.
Shit.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I get paid this week too, so I might go $2.
Hey, slow down now.
All right. Hey, look, you gonna win so much money. You gonna pay for these WrestleMania tickets.
Not at $1,500 a pop. $1,500. No,
They ain't even cover the damn service charge.
Right, exactly. No, thank you.
That's insane. All right, y'all, we out of here. That is a wrap. You guys know the deal. We've already plugged everything. We out. See you guys on Sunday. Have a good week.